as well.
Score has been great.
Yeah, Score. And so, our little bit of stats before this match. As you can see, the ROX Tigers doing much, much better overall. The Afreeca Freecs, they did get that 2-0 win over Spenu, so at least they do have a match win on the books anyway.
And they pushed Janair to the limit also. That was a very long series, very hard fought, but Janair did win in the end. However, since their victory over Spenu, taking that 2-0 to Longzhu and not putting up much of a fight in that best of 3.
Yeah, meanwhile, the ROX Tigers only losing 2 games total on the season, otherwise doing very, very well overall. I'd say 100% match win rate is very, very well.
Yeah, 10-2 overall, you can't argue with that, and the losses they've taken have been against other strong teams in KT and SKT.
Yeah.
They've performed quite admirably, as you can expect, and look at those monster KDAs.
That is crazy. Like the entire Afreeca team just fits inside of the KDA of the ROX Tigers. That cannot be a good thing for Afreeca Freecs.
It's not really a good thing for anybody that the Tigers are facing. Kuro has been a standout. Since the addition of Peanut, it really has been Kuro that has benefited the most. We're taking a look at the average game times here. Win average for the Tigers is 31 minutes.
That's amazing, actually. That's so short, because that means there's a considerable amount of games that are sub 30 minutes that these guys are winning.
Absolutely. And the ROX Tigers, they have a 92% first blood rate at the moment.
Yeah. Who does that? Who does that?
So in 11 out of 12 of their games, they have gotten first blood. Just such strength. The Kuro 2 is the highest kill player in the entire league with over 60 kills already this season.
Yeah.
So he has been absolutely dominating. You can't give him Victor. He's been performing on LeBlanc. Very deep champion pool that this guy has.
Kuro's always been so good too at, knowing when to come in on a fight, just not dying, just playing safe, but still getting a lot of damage done. He's not a flashy mid laner or anything like that, but he really kind of pushes his champions to the limits, and I think gives the least back to the enemy team out of any mid laner in the league right now.
He's been quite strong. He's second in most statistical categories, like damage per minute, only to Faker.
Yeah. But I bet he has less deaths than Faker. I can guarantee you that.
Well, Tigers haven't been dying much overall, so we're going to go into the first game here. Picks and bans. We'll start Afreeca Freecs. Take the blue side.
And we'll see what the bans are going to be. The Quinn ban, of course, against Smeb is something we've been seeing quite a bit.
Yeah, SK Telecom actually managed to beat Smeb's Quinn, but that was on a kind of protect the 80 carry, 4 men peeling for a blue Ezreal run by Bang, and I don't think Afreeca is going to play that same strategy with Mickey in the mid lane.
GP and Rise, the next 2 bans. But we did see Rise lose yesterday, but that was a bit of an anomaly. That was also CJ, I believe. So. Wait, Alistar. All right.
So not going to first pick. They're probably going to try and first pick Kalista here if they have the opportunity. So the Tigers have to choose whether Lulu or Kalista is going to be the ban, and it will be neither. Corki taken out instead, and they're going to be first picking Lulu. Not a very Mickey-esque champion, but he's been expanding recently.
Well, Instalock Nidalee for Peanut. What did you really expect?
We've seen that Nidalee ban come through against Peanut too, and it's just the clear speed on that particular champion, and what you can do with it as a skilled jungler is pretty impressive. For those of you who didn't catch the second game of CJ versus Longzhu last night, if you like junglers, please go watch Game 2, where Crash played Nidalee, and remember that this guy has played 2 professional games in his career. That was his second, and see how hard you can carry on a jungle Nidalee. It was astonishing.
See, one almost wonders if Peanut didn't just lock in that Nidalee to be like, all right, the gauntlet has been thrown. I got to get 150 CS up above Lyra. I think that's going to be tough, though. Lyra's a bit better than Bubbling.
Yes, he is. Lyra's actually a very strong jungler in most aspects. They are going to take the Trundle.
Okay. And they're going to grab the Elise as well. Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about the Afreeca Freecs, right? Is that all of the players on the team, arguably were improving, were looking pretty good coming into the season, and like you said, they just don't seem to be able to close out games once they get that lead.
I don't see why you wouldn't pick Victor here if you're Kuro. It's your best champion. You have an 80% win rate on it. It's your most played champion of all time. You add that bit of wave clear. It synergizes well with an Italy for some poke.
We saw some pretty great Bard play from Mad Life yesterday, but Gorilla hasn't been bringing the Bard quite as often.
New Shen is available. We are on patch 6.2.
True.
We might just grab the Fiora here and try and split push. It will be, I think that is actually a top lane Trundle from Afreeca, if I had to guess. Because
Bard,
I think we're going to see Thresh, Lucian with a top lane Trundle from them. So the Bard lock-in will be happening, so will the Fiora, so...
Well, they gave Fiora to Smeb. Okay. All right, just going to be one of those games then. Okay, sure.
You only have so many bans, Doa, unfortunately.
Yeah, I suppose.
We've talked a lot about it this season, but Gorilla's been pretty much getting Alistar every single game.
Yeah. Yeah, the one that I would maybe say you could throw out in favor of like a Fiora ban or something would be maybe the GP, but it's tough to ban against the ROX Tigers right now. I mean, every person on that team has picks that you just quote-unquote can't let them have, you know?
That's definitely the truth. So, Lucian Lissandra. We've been seeing a decline in Lissandra play, and this would be a nice burst composition, but they still don't have an answer if they pick the Lissandra for the Fiora, and they also don't have a great matchup for Lissandra either, so it will be a Victor last lock. That's
all right,
pretty standard. But I'm a bit concerned. I would have thought they would have put another strong split pusher into Trundle into the lane, but instead they're going to dedicate themselves to grouping and trying to team fight. They've got a lot of zone control, but it's going to be the Songyun show, and Songyun has been putting up big numbers in terms of his stats this season, typically on Kalista, but his Lucian is actually his most played champion in his career.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting to see how they play. Basically, they've got a lot of peel, and they've got zone control with Lissandra and Trundle, but that means they're going to be looking for the 5v5 team fights. However, Smeb is going to be very difficult to stop, especially since Mickey is going to be playing with Ignite on that Lulu instead of going for TP.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a hard time seeing, what's going to stop Smeb from TPing behind this team when they group up and just eliminating the carries.
Well, the Afreeca Freecs are hoping that they can just group and allow Songyun to carry them in the late game, but that, I think, is going to be a tall order. They have to get there first, and the 4-1 split, they've got plenty of wave clear on the side of the Tigers, and frankly, Gorilla can disengage almost anything with a good Tempered Fate, the Bard ultimate. So this is going to be a little bit dicey, I think. Lyra's going to have to be a very heads-up jungler against Peanut and his aggressive tendencies with Nidalee.
Yep. That's a lot for Afreeca to worry about, that aggressive early game, closing out the late game. We'll see if they can make those things happen because they've got a tough opponent in the ROX Tigers. Let's get into game one. And welcome to Summoner's Rift. Back again for another day of champions here on OGN. Thanks for joining us. ROX Tigers versus the Afreeca Freecs. And Kuro on his favorite Victor.
This is the pick you don't get him.
Yeah, but you say that about Fiora, about Smeb, you can say that about Peanut and Nidalee. Like, you can't ban against ROX Tigers right now.
Okay, I mean, the Tigers obviously engineered this to bait out the Lulu, right? And so they tried to lock Afreeca into a situation where they would have to pick Lulu, and since they didn't ban Victor, they can't really do much about it. They could have sent Lulu top, then taken the Victor in the mid lane. I just think that giving the Victor over is highly problematic, and especially when you give it as the last pick of the draft on the red side, you have plenty of opportunities to deny it before that. It's not like Mickey can't play Victor either.
Yep. Hey, look, it's not all Thunderlords.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of changes so far.
Yeah, well, 6.2, I mean, they did make the attempt to make more of the Keystone Masteries available. This is the first time we've seen them on the broadcast, unless they did it last night.
Yes, they did.
Okay, I missed the first couple minutes last night. So.
Finally getting
my bad.
Keystone
there you
Masteries
go.
up.
And what wrath will Peanut bring to the enemy team? That's what I'm wondering. That's what everyone's wondering. They saw him start that red, and he knows it. He sees the ward debris, so he knows what's up. Where's he going to go from here? I mean, it is good for the Afreeca Freecs to do everything they can to keep an eye on Peanut. A little bit of early pressure from Gorilla on the Songyun, but wow, nice pillar from Snowflower. They get the flash out of Gorilla right away and the summoner heal from Prey. Yeah. Whoops, a little bit of a misstep early on by the ROX Tigers bot lane.
Yeah, definitely a good start to the laning phase for them, and you have to be really careful in that particular scenario.
You definitely do.
Interesting that we see the top viewer going for Grasp with the Undying here. Not going to have so much max health on the Fiora, so we'll have to check in and check out that build. But with building Titanic Hydra, you at least have some more usefulness out of that item, and just the sustain it can give you in the laning phase is obviously a plus.
Yep. Songyun and Snowflower are certainly a solid bot lane, and even if Afreeca Freecs haven't been able to close out games, they're still a team to worry about in the early game. And look at this, Smeb getting ganked up in top lane. He may be in a lot of trouble, gets first blooded by the Afreeca Freecs. That's only the second time this season that the Tigers have given up first blood. That came out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, it was a 3-minute gank, pretty typical coming through. Peanut is going to 3-buff them in response. But you have to be careful. There's a lot of CC in that lane, and they know they need to shut down Smeb early. That's what they're going to do. They get the early kill, and they deny some CS on that turret. So a very good start for the Afreeca Freecs, obviously burning summoners in the bottom lane in the 2v2, and then having a successful gank at the top side. Smeb didn't even have a chance to look like to use his flash right there.
Yeah, he knew he was going down, so he just decided to save it, which is probably a good idea. Now, before their match against SK Telecom, the ROX Tigers had an average goal lead at 15 minutes of something like 2,700. So it dropped a lot during that match. That was a little bit closer of one.
Still over 2,100.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still a huge advantage.
I think Jin Air is in second with 800 something, so still more than doubling the second place team in the league.
Yeah, Afreeca also is in fourth, but they only have about 477, so much more normal sort of average gold lead to have for a strong early game team. 2,100 is just a huge, huge number, and we now have enough games. I mean, they've played 12 games already, so it's been pretty consistent.
It's a pretty extreme lead to have.
Already, I mean, they played 2/3 of an LCS season already with those numbers. So.
That's one way to look at it, isn't it?
I like to look at it that way.
It is nice to look at it that way, isn't it? Puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Sure does. Sure does.
Well, aside from the early gank on Smeb, not a whole lot going on. Just kind of wave clear wars and none of the early lane swaps that we've seen off and on this season. Lyra coming up again, but this time Peanut is approaching from the lane, so he'll be around. But Smeb may still be in trouble here. He's got his flash. There's Peanut. They see him. And that's going to prevent any gank from coming in. In fact, Lyra has to run, taking a spear right away, using that cocoon to back off. Smeb coming in. They're getting aggressive here. Ixu could be in trouble. A lot of low health targets. Lyra flashes. Spear barely misses Lyra. That was so close.
Yeah, but they got a flash out of Lyra right there. Ixu manages to escape even without his. Smeb still has a flash available, so nice engagement there from the Tigers to chase him back. Mickey getting poked out of this lane.
I think they may dive here. Nice spear. Oh, their riposte hits as well. Smeb dives in for the kill. The W locks it down. Ixu manages to pick up the kill. A little bit of an error there. Peanut. Oh, the minions. Oh, man. Whoops. And Lyra grabs that one. Yeah, that probably does feel pretty good, doesn't it?
I love watching Ixu. He's one of the most expressive players. He always has these great moments on the camera.
Well, Smeb, not respecting that Lissandra W when he decided to go in there and try to grab that kill. It looks so good, but you can see, nothing phases these ROX Tigers, man. Peanut laughing about that one.
Well,
I don't think they're too worried.
They got a little bloodlust there when they landed the spear, and they got the slow in from the riposte, but it just wasn't quite enough to get the kill, and then they overcommitted. If Lyra hadn't been there, they would have traded 1 for 1, but Lyra still lurking around waiting to respond. Good anticipation of the gank from the jungler of Afreeca.
Yeah, not bad. And so as Mickey comes down for a few more wards, we'll see what everyone else is up to. Smeb did use his flash in that last fight.
And we see Peanut taking the Saber. This is not a common item in the jungle these days, but Peanut, again, is by far the least warding jungler. He does not get the Tracker's Knife. He wants to fight you straight up and have these duels.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had as low as 10 wards in a game.
Yeah, he has 0.47 wards per minute, so he places basically less than 1 ward every 2 minutes as a jungler. Now, part of this is his champion pool, right? He's not buying, or he's not playing champions that get a lot of Sightstones, so he's been playing Kindred, which is banned still on 6.2 universally due to it being bugged, and Graves and Italy, so, but not even getting the Tracker's Knife, that is bold.
Yeah, that's Peanut. This is how things work. I think our trinkets are bugged on the overlay too. Look at that. Look at all the early ones. Oh, it's gone now, but trust me.
Okay.
They all looked like they had just been used, but they hadn't all just been used.
Well, coming back in here, they are going to get some damage down onto the bottom turret. Peanut is just trying to counter gank right now. He smells this possible gank coming back in.
Yeah.
And he's just going to take a look at it, but Ixu not opting for the dive. They are both level 6, and Lyra will be seen for the lane gank. Now he just realizes the pink ward is there, so he will have to back off. Peanut back in base. At the very least, Peanut has been farming very heavily. So at least getting an advantage there. He did trade that top lane kill onto Smeb for the red buff at the start of the game. And not to mention, Smeb is actually keeping up in farm. So this isn't enough yet. ROX Tigers actually have a lead right now due to the good CS from mid jungle and the bot lane in spite of falling behind in terms of kills. So this is not enough damage yet for Afreeca to survive a late game Fiora.
Well, they need to do more.
And look at that counter jungling. So they saw Lyra on that top side pink ward. They just run through and get everything. They have the Sentinel there inside the enemy jungle. And just a really nice takeaway.
Yeah. Scuttler taken as well. And Lyra, yeah, left without a lot of farm. Throw taking some damage. He doing a pretty good job in the mid lane duel, but there's just not going to be any big all-ins too soon.
Each mid laner is going to go take that blue buff. Nicky having some favorable trades there thanks to his shield and the Thunderlords.
Yep. So, the ROX Tigers have about 5 minutes to get 2,000 gold ahead. To maintain that average.
Or else that precious statistic might go down.
That's right. It's such a great stat. You know, you want to. That's the kind of stat you want to keep as long as you possibly can.
It's okay, though. In the next game, they can just get 4,000 gold ahead by 15 minutes.
Oh, that's true.
Just even it out.
You're right. You got to think long term.
Smeb now actually picking up early Merc treads, and this is probably smart in a lane where he's dealing with so much crowd control. Between Elise and Lissandra, 3 forms of CC able to lock him down.
Yeah, definitely. Keeps it a bit safer. Are we going to see a dive onto Kuro here, maybe?
We're going to try, but Peanut is here. They need to
Yeah.
rethink this.
Yeah, they are going to rethink it, just leaving a ward and heading back to the river again.
I like what they're doing, though. They're trying to snowball the advantage that they earned for Ixu in the top lane into other parts of the map. And those are the kind of plays you have to make. You have to make the plays based around your strength. And they nearly find an opportunity there. They still have TP, so they could make something happen down in bottom.
Yep.
Peanut here. 0 wards.
Good job, Peanut.
Just, you know, cooldown boots. It's for, he gets set for the solo dragon that he's going to take here at 11 minutes into the game. He will be seen, though, on this ward, but there's no one who can really respond to this except for Elise. I mean, look at the waves in mid and bottom right now. They just can't get in there. They're going to try and make
teleport.
a TP play.
Yeah, that's right. Magical Journey's going to take him out. Actually, the follow comes through. Peanut throws a spear prey back under his own turret. And now Afreeca Freecs could be in trouble here. Lyra from the side, and everyone's collapsing onto the people stuck in Tribrush. Ixu ults himself. Kuro poking from the side very carefully. Grand challenge issued. In fact, Ixu picks up a kill. Double kill comes in, and Afreeca Freecs are going to actually win this fight as Smeb goes down. That was a bit unexpected.
That was a very weird fight, but Afreeca, when they saw the dragon, that's when they tried to strike and actually snowball the advantage that they had from the top lane and get in there. So they actually managed to get the Ring of Frost route down before people went into the Magical Journey with Lissandra. As we take a look at this, And you see, there's the Ring of Frost. It's already down onto Prey and Gorilla. And so they try and follow through. Gorilla gets it. But I'm wondering what happened to Fate's call here, because he's taken, and then he just launches into the wall. Like, it looked like it actually messed up. Gorilla's going to flash forward, but he doesn't get the stun because Ixu ults too fast. And then the knock-up, great wild growth right there. Kuro just can't make it happen alongside Smeb, even though everyone is in the Grand Challenge and the Chaos Storm. But that was a misplay from Gorilla. Looked like he misclicked and couldn't get over the wall, and he just got bounced right back into the lane and had to flash.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the champion equivalent of what happens when you try to place a ward too far over and it just pops back to the wall you're in front of.
Well, you know, they actually fixed that, a lot of that in this patch. They changed the way that flash and wards over walls work. And so it's supposed to be more reliable now, but I just think that was a misclick, honestly, from Gorilla.
Yeah. That's what it looked like to me.
I mean, it was straight up at the wrong angle. So I don't know, but ROX Tigers, they should have had a better counter engage right there, but they flubbed it. And that meant that we saw enough time for Ixu to get his ult off. And that's going to lead to a nice little gold lead here for Afreeca.
Looks like they are going to need that 4,000 gold lead in game 2 after all. They may not even have one this game.
Afreeca has been strong in the early game. That's definitely been a trend. It's just their shot calling falls apart late. And it, again, against the split push that the ROX Tigers have with this Fiora, it's not going to be pretty if we go to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Peanut's still putting down some deeper wards, trying to... Who am I kidding? He put down a ward. He's trying to counter jump as much as he can.
And try for this dragon one more time.
Okay.
The ward is still there, and they are going to see it. So Lyra try and gank Smeb.
Yeah, Smeb going in onto Ixu. There's the ult onto Smeb, though. Smeb trying to finish off that kill, but Ixu with the E over the wall. And Smeb, can he escape? He's trying. Ixu coming from the top yet again into Tri-Brush, but Smeb can escape into the jungle. Kuro coming up as Smeb dodges over the wall. Looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, that was a
close call.
So Victor moved up just to use the Frost Queen's Claim to try and slow them down, and Mickey actually didn't have a very good wild growth there.
Yep.
To try and catch them out. They are going to take the Rift Herald as a response, but Peanut is again on the bottom side of the map trying to take their Krugs.
Yeah, he gets seen though. Just takes the ancient Krug, just the oldest is called. And all sorts of political ramifications in that statement, huh? Meanwhile, Rift Herald taken by the Afreeca Freecs.
It's okay, the ancient Krug was no longer useful to Krug society though.
That's right. The old and the sick are eliminated. Yep.
And turned into gold for young Peanut.
Yeah.
17-year-old jungler.
I thought he was going to pull an ambition moment there for a moment, though.
So Lyra now will be seen. Just checking that. And we'll clear out the ward that was most recently placed there inside the Afreeca Freecs jungle.
By somebody, but probably not Peanut. In fact, certainly not Peanut.
He's got the sweeping lens, you know. He's been... Actually, in terms of junglers, Peanut has been middle of the pack in junglers when it comes to wards cleared. It's just his wards placed that's particularly... TP.
Yeah, looks like Ixu's coming in again, and Prey gets caught. Nice pillar by Trundle. That's an easy kill for the Afreeca Freecs. Gorilla gets out.
And here we go. Ixu does have that buff, but he's not going to stick around. He wants to get back into this top side as Smeb starts to work away on this top lane turret.
Not enough of a minion wave either, I think, for Smeb to take this turret.
Nope, just getting some damage down at the moment.
Yep.
Freecs, though, putting together a very solid early game. We've seen some very good teleports from Ixu, and, you know, they've come in. They've shut down the Fiora so far, and they have expanded Ixu's influence into the bottom side of the map and turned it into kills for Songyun and for Mickey. So the Fiora is still a threat because the CS is still there, the farm is still there for Smeb, but they've accelerated the pace of this game.
Wow. And the Afreeca Freecs not able to take that bottom turret just yet, but it should be soon.
Yeah, but the top turret goes to Smeb, and that's the big concern now.
Yeah, Smeb has been unleashed, essentially.
Prey not actually going to be able to save this. Nice pillar to secure the turret kill. One turret for one turret, but trading evenly right now for the Tigers is absolutely fine. And I'd love to see the mid lane turret here and how much damage Kuro's been able to put down, but we're not going to take a look at that right now. Prey farming pretty far forward, and they don't have any vision on the enemy side.
Spooky ghosts.
Just checking to see where Elise is, and that actually is going to go all the way up to the top side to Lysandra.
Yep.
Right now, and Smeb doesn't want any part of that, so he'll just retreat right now, wait for that wave, play as cautiously as he can. But they have TP advantage, so they could try and dive this bottom side.
We'll see. Summoner's all up for the bot lane for Afreeca Freecs, so it wouldn't be easy, but it looks like they will back off anyway.
They have to figure out what they're going to do about this, though, because the Freecs are now pushing down onto tier 2, and Victor has to go into top lane. Prey gets a couple shots, but be very concerned about what this Lysandra is going to, how far she's going to split push. She's going to get some time there. Peanut there just proxying the wave, giving them enough time to take the turret. So ROX Tigers happy to play the trading game early. They have the dragon advantage already.
Yep. So they will take their second turret of the game. Get that one down at bottom. Just need the one in mid now. Smeb surprisingly a little bit down in CS to Ixu as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's been repeatedly ganked in camp this game.
Makes it hard to CS, doesn't it?
It does. He's actually done really well considering the circumstances and the fact that he's 1-3-2 and has faced off against a whole lot of pressure at the top side.
Well, Kuro still there to save the day in the end if they need him, I suppose.
I guess he is. And he hasn't had any trouble getting pretty big. Luden's Echo actually for Mickey, so really looking to put out some nice poke damage here.
Yeah. Nope, hello.
The Tigers really haven't been able to get very many deep wards in. Part of that is because Peanut simply hasn't had them in his inventory on some of his invades into the red side. And part of that is Gorilla really hasn't been working with Peanut to try and advance that line. They're slowly working their way through.
I mean, it was a pretty intense 2v2 throughout most of the early game, so Gorilla pretty occupied with that, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely, especially after that early trade went so poorly for them.
Yeah, you need to make sure Prey still gets off to as good of a start as he can. And ROX Tigers are going to take this second Rift Herald, I suppose.
You would suppose correctly, and they're going to get some
I
Prey.
suppose.
Peanut's here, does smite it just to get the Raptor buff so he can clear out some wards.
We'll see if they get mid lane turret. Not anytime soon.
Afreeca is starting to just pile up in the mid lane. They already have the split push, they have the TP available, and they're going to go after the second dragon of the game. I don't really think that the Tigers are in place to contest this.
Yep, they've got it, and Tigers don't want to fight it.
The Trundle really not very useful though against the Bard. So you can always have that option to magical journey out of where the pillar is. So as long as you can make sure that you have that Bard E up, you're going to be in a pretty good situation.
Yeah, that's true. You can just go through it. Doesn't stop you from being slowed on the other side, but you still get to take the shortcut anyway.
So Prey is going to be pretty quickly pushing out in the top lane as long as he has the Herald buff still on him, but he does take a little break for some Krebs right there. They're just trying to farm their way back into relevance. I think that the Tigers believe themselves to be further behind than they actually are. They're only 500 gold back. Peanut has a very substantial CS lead, and they're even in turrets, but when it's 8-3, you may think that more gold is in your enemy's pockets than it actually is.
Yeah, the kills probably making them a bit uncomfortable.
But Prey hits his power spike, 2 items now on Callista after farming out that last wave. And the minion wave pressure is in their favor, so that's going to cause everybody to sort of walk into the mid lane right now. They don't have the vision to continue split pushing really any deeper than they already are. Smeb going to just get the Scuttle Crab because he has nothing better to do.
Yep, it's not good when you say things like nothing better to do about your Fiora.
Well, for now, Doa, let's just hold our horses.
Well, I mean, we saw what happened yesterday, right? I mean, some days Fiora was kind of quiet, they were behind all game, and then he just decided to TP behind the enemy team to win.
Yep. Well, I think think we may see something similar again. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I think it's pretty likely. I think that's kind of what players like Smeb and Someday do on Fiora. Wow, Trundle. Settle down, man. It's not that bad.
It's got to scream sometimes in the enemy jungle.
Takes a lot of effort to bring that pillar up out of the grime and muck of Summoner's Rift, I guess. Disgusting, dirty ground of Summoner's Rift.
Siege is back now for Afreeca.
Yeah, Cocoon doesn't hit anybody. That turret is almost gone.
It's getting close, and Smeb is going to be there. He's simply going to take the farm in the top side yet again. He'll be able to clear it out pretty quickly. They don't really have a great ward for CP on in case they do want to try and break this siege by a flank.
That closest one would be the Raptor Pit. That'd be an awkward way to engage from. Tiger's pushing back though.
Yep. Bully Lyra right here out of his own Raptor Pit. And Afreeca has to break off as they need to collect the minion waves in the side lanes yet again. And this has really been Season 6 so far in a nutshell. Those outer turrets go down, it turns into a big ARAM in the mid lane with people breaking off, and they're very slowly chipping the mid lane down.
Yep. Killer goes down. Are they going to engage? Lyra waiting in the Raptor Pit. Doesn't look like they are.
Well, it was almost exciting there for a second, though.
Yeah.
Now everyone just going to mass recall.
Well, the interesting thing about this point, is that I guess Songyun just dies immediately.
Kuro didn't even have to use Flash for that, and Songyun didn't use either of his summoners. I have no idea how that happened. Also, Gorilla didn't use his ultimate, so that was super weird. I don't know what the setup for that kill was. Maybe he was just standing there and
Mickey very low too, ults himself for the knockup, but that may have not been wise, as he's not part of this fight right now. They may have to give up this tier 2. Peanut goes in, gets W'd immediately though. They're chasing down Ixu, but I don't think you want to run into that after the top laner. Meanwhile, Smeb coming down from the top. They may have Ixu bottled up until he uses that E to get away.
I mean, Ixu still has his ultimate, but he's got to be concerned about Fiora, who's bearing down on him from the top side.
Yeah.
This will just be a blue take though, and another recall from the Tigers.
I want to see what happened to Songyun. Hopefully we will soon. I mean, this is a point in the game where the Afreeca Freecs kind of fall apart, right? This is where they start to have to try to turn that lead into a win, and they just have not been able to do that. Okay, let's see what happens. Songyun. Oh, that was a mistake. Whoops. I don't know, Songyun. You're a good Lucian player, but that was not one of your finest moments, buddy.
Wow. I think Kuro doesn't even have Ignite this game. He has Cleanse.
Kuro's just like, thanks, bro.
That was a severe underestimation of the amount of damage Victor could do to him.
I guess.
Mistakes were made.
The definition of being blown up. That was pretty one-sided. Well, they're going to go in again. They catch Kuro up, throw him in that Lysandra ultimate. He gets taken down. Nice pick from the Afreeca Freecs, and that may get them a turret here.
Yeah, they knew the cleanse was down, so they decided to make a play, and they're going to answer with a mid turret of their own, so it all evens out in the end. Smeb is still a huge problem for them, and they don't have an answer, so they're going to try and trade tier 2 for tier 2.
And he's going to be more and more of a problem for them as the game goes on, too. But
uh-oh, they're going to try and create a pick out of Prey.
There's
Prey.
a ward. Wonder where that ward came from.
Wow, that was bold. Lyra may have been able to actually nail a cocoon off of that.
I was wondering. All right, there's a pillar. Ixu comes in. E, nice W to lock people up. They're going to go right on to Prey here. Prey in a lot of trouble, goes down. Smeb takes that top turret. Tempered Fate comes in, traps the entire Afreeca team. And here comes Peanut to try to make something happen. Smeb gets in the back line, so Oliver Mickey gets the kill, gets the heal. And now the Afreeca Freecs in big, big trouble as the ROX Tigers turn this one around. And this is going to be an easy team fight win. A little bit of an over-engage from the Afreeca Freecs, and this is exactly what you can't do when you've got this little lead that they built up.
Well, they hadn't had a lead in a little bit. They had fallen behind by about 2K gold, and now the Baron is 9. Yep. Wow. So Smeb had a great TP to start off that fight. He really did a good job of coming in and turning that one around as Afreeca stuck around too long underneath that turret. Once they got prey, we saw the tempered fate from Gorilla, and that bought enough time for Smeb just to get into the back line and on top of Mickey immediately, who didn't have the wild growth to really do anything about that. So let's take a look at this again. I mean, it looks like a good fight, right? They're going to take Prey down, but watch the Tempered Fate. Hello, that is a 4-man Tempered Fate. Now Smeb is just going to wait here. Look at this. He stays underneath the turret while the rest of his team does some damage. Mickey he finds on the side, and he's not quite going to get that. Just flashes over to complete the kill and therefore get the heal. And then they're just stuck between a healing Fiora and a turret, and that turret does a huge amount of damage.
Yep. Yeah, the turret did a lot of the damage in that fight, and that's going to lead to another Dragon for the ROX Tigers as well.
Nice
Nice
steal.
red steal for Peanut. Just Peanut things.
Yeah, and Lyra couldn't smite that. It was still at over 800 HP, it looked like, so.
Man, that works. And so how are the ROX Tigers going to put this Baron buff to use now?
I think they will split push with Smeb.
That's a good idea.
Ixu TP'd somewhere.
You went up to top lane to try to push that. They're still looking for the tier 2 up in top.
Kind of missed that during the replay right there.
I guess so.
Songyun does not want to go 1v1 versus Smeb right now.
Didn't work out very well against Kuro. It's probably going to work even less well against Smeb.
Ixu doing a good job of split pushing though. Now Peanut has to deal with this. Peanut is tanky-ish. He has the Abyssal Scepter and he has the Rod of Ages, so he's confident he can actually live through the Lissandra burst. Let's see if he can.
He's going to try, missing that spear. Meanwhile, a fight down in mid lane. Snowflower knocked off, and that's going to be another turret. Peanut, meanwhile, the long, protracted duel. There's the Thunderlord's proc. Peanut hit with that W. Locked up for the moment. Ixu gets into the Baron pit, narrowly dodges that spear.
Now, he did use his ult already, so Peanut is still going to be pursuing this. Has to dodge the Qs. It's Q dodge from both players.
It's like a little mini game between these two guys right now. Meanwhile, the siege goes on down in bot lane. And it looks like Ixu's going to come out on top of the Peanut Ixu mini game. Unless another spear gets hit right now, but it doesn't look like from the mini map Peanut's going to try anything.
No, he's just going to go take some jungle camps instead.
Guess so. Well, that's the end of the split push for the Afreeca Freecs anyway.
Yeah, they nearly got that tier 2 though. All in all, that wasn't too bad considering that Afreeca didn't have the Baron buff and the ROX Tigers did. To even put pressure on a turret, and in a way that delayed the Tigers from actually taking anything else, any more turrets in this game, at least for the moment. Because they haven't been able to transition that Baron buff into anything except for one tier 2.
Oh, Tempered Fate comes down. No follow-up, it looks like, though. Maybe they would have had something there.
No.
Magical Journey.
Yeah, I don't know what their plan was with that Tempered Fate. That's a long cooldown, too. Taking a look right now, Peanut is 3,000 gold ahead of Lyra. A pretty big advantage there. You see the 45 or so CS differential.
Not bad. Afro's gonna just get this lane prepped to push.
There we go.
And looks like it's gonna be one of the longer games for the ROX Tigers, but they've got time. You know, I mean, Kuro's just gonna keep getting stronger. Smeb is gonna keep getting scarier, coming into the back lines, and Brain Gorilla, of course, are gonna be just fine on their own.
Yeah, nobody can stop him. He's moving toward that Spirit Visage, which will, of course, synergize nicely with his Grasp of the Undying and his ultimate, so getting a little bit bonus healing out of his Keystone Mastery and out of his ult, so that'll be quite useful. It's also going to be taking the Distortion Enchantment and probably building into Bloodthirster next.
Yeah, just a very, very self-sufficient Smeb build, or Fiora build. I guess Smeb is the one building Fiora, so they both apply.
Peanut refuses to ward anymore. He's like, I need this Ruby Crystal.
Gotta get that health, man. How are you going to survive the tower dives without the health? I think it's pretty obvious. He needs that. Don't worry, he'll just turn it into a Sightstone. I've got a good feeling.
You're funny, though.
Sightstone incoming for Peanut.
The post 30-minute jungle Sightstone.
Yep.
I would be hilarious if we saw that, actually.
It would be a first. By first, I mean it'd be the first time Peanut has ever built a Sightstone.
Well, we're just in a bit of a waiting game right now. No objectives to be taken. So Tigers simply want to get some more control over the enemy jungle and keep the pressure on while they can, and then just wait out for the next dragon or the next Baron.
Smeb in 1v2 could be in a little bit of trouble trying to get away. Xu coming in as well. Looks like Smeb's going to get taken out.
And that's what happens when you don't have wards, Doa.
Yep, that's right. If only there was a jungler that was putting some of those down for him. Nope, Peanut's got better things to do. Ah, he found that one. See, if you take out their wards, then nobody has vision and it doesn't matter anymore.
I see.
Right?
I mean, what doesn't matter is Smeb dying, actually. He didn't use any summoners for that. He was already pushed all the way up. There isn't an objective that can be taken by the Freecs at all, so his death is rather meaningless right here.
Wow, that's really cold of you. Tell that to Smeb.
His death is meaningless.
He's the one
we're
who
just
went
going
through
full nihilism on the ROX Tigers at the moment.
Smeb is meaningless. The top lane pushes result in only sorrow.
Not sorrow, just
oh,
apathy from the universe
right.
of League of Legends.
There you go. My bad. Well, they just they're nihilists, so they believe in nothing naturally, you know?
They do.
Well, Freecs have a small window here to try to push back. And we'll see what they make of it. But I feel like when something like this happens, in a game like this, it usually ends with a Fiora coming from behind, killing everyone that you need to stay alive on your team.
And Fiora is vicious in that way.
Yeah.
All right, Afreeca standing on the just taken Scuttle Crab. I don't know where our Dragon Timer is this game.
Yeah, good question. Some things have been really weird in this game. Numbered Fate keeps the Dragon alive for now. ROX Tigers want to claim it. Dragon still be taken by the Afreeca. Freecs are forced away. That's going to be a Dragon for the Tigers as Peanut takes it. Now the fight begins. Snowflower trying on Lyra has to flash out of the Dragon Pit. Kuro coming from the top now, and as Xu engages, that's going to be tough. He's Onus, but he's not going to last very long. Easy kill there. Knock up for Mickey. Tried to keep him alive with the wild growth, but that did not work at all. Magical Journey brings Gorilla closer to the fight. And the ROX Tigers can just turn right onto this Baron.
Yeah, Baron's back up too. I'm not sure where.
Oh, Songyun. All right, Summoner Heal used.
Smeb didn't have to flash for that either, so.
No.
Summoner right there.
Yeah.
I don't know where the Baron and Dragon Timers are, guys. So.
Well, I mean, we were having issues with the trinket cooldown things too, so something's kind of buggy today. Oh, all right, Baron getting taken by the ROX Tigers. At least we're not bug splatting, right?
Hey, the night is young, Doa.
I know. Songyun. Oh, he's not going to last too much longer. Already out. Smeb gets to hang out. And Relish is completed challenge. As ROX Tigers just simply bully the Afreeca Freecs back into their base again.
Well, late game Fiora, Doa, what can you say? Get to this point, you don't punish it enough. She's not denied any kind of farm or CS, so you get a player as skilled on her as Smeb is, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, very true. Nice Fate's call. Wow. Really nice takedown for Xu there. They're going to bring Trundle in as well for an easy kill. And a little bit of return action from Lyra, but it's not going to prevent the inevitable as a double kill comes in for Peanut. Another great jungle performance for him on that in Italy. And the ROX Tigers took a little bit longer than usual, but they will be able to secure about a 35-minute win here, depending on how long they want to frolic by the fountain. And looks like not too long. There we go. The Nexus goes down. GG. ROX Tigers takes game one.
Yeah, and I really think Afreeca did a good job trying to snowball out of that early game. We had that successful gank from Lyra, and then the transition of Lysandra into other parts of the map to try and get everybody rolling. But in the end, the Tigers are just so good at team fighting that they misplayed with the Kalista ultimate when the turret dive came through, and they lost that 4-for-1 trade. But besides that, their team fighting was just vastly superior to what we saw from the Afreeca Freecs. And Songyun just, they couldn't keep him alive, and he was the main source of damage output in the late game.
Yeah, Songyun also during that game kind of underestimating the amount of damage that was incoming during certain periods too. We'll see what the Afreeca Freecs can do to muster up a defense here in game number 2, but things proceeding pretty much as expected, I would say, so far.
Yeah, Smeb really has to be careful, though. That was a pretty poor showing during the 3 minutes. He really underestimated the Lysandra-Elise combination. And as Fiora, you got to expect that there could be a 3-minute gank coming your way. And there's so much crowd control that playing a bit more cautiously would have certainly behooved him, because that one death led to a whole heap of advantages for the Afreeca Freecs, who played better tonight. They really did.
Yeah.
We've seen them in the last few outings.
Yeah, it was certainly a strong early game, and we'll see if they can transition that into maybe a win here in game 2. But I think as long as the ROX Tigers tighten things up just a bit, they should have no trouble closing out this series with a 2-0. But we will find out right after the break. No Faye, I'm sure, has some choice words for the Tigers after that game. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with game 2 right after this.